Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about eyeshadow palettes, specifically neutral eyeshadow palettes. So I've seen a handful of creators do this kind of a video before. Teresa's dad has done a handful of them where she talks about her favorite Anne palettes. And I wanted to think about what are some of my favorite neutral kind of basic eyeshadow palettes and why I love them. So we're here to talk about neutral eyeshadow palettes and I'm excited. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Colin. I'm a non-binary Latinx scientist and lover of makeup with a definite soft spot for indie makeup and high-end makeup, which you will see both of here today. And I tend to take a pretty analytical approach to the content I make, be it reviews of new items or talking about things I know and love, like here today. And I just try to make thoughtful analytical content, and I have new videos every week, especially right now as we're going into the end of the year, so I'd love to have you subscribe. Okay, so if you're curious about my makeup, it'll all be in the description box. I am wearing one of the eyeshadow palettes I mentioned, and then on top of it, I'm wearing one of the new Surratt souffle eyeshadows. They sent me 3 of these to try out, and this is my first time trying it. This is the shade Gris Doux, and it's this really pretty kind of taupe. It's a really interesting formula. I will do a video on these when I've tried them a bit more and have like an opinion, but really like the shadow so far. Okay, so I used to say that I was really into colorful makeup, and I still really do like colorful makeup, but I've learned over the last year and a half that I kind of gravitate more toward neutral mattes and then like a colorful shimmer if I want it. But on the day-to-day, I'm not even doing that. I'm doing like maybe this, like a one and done. So I have built up more and more neutral palettes. I'm getting more excited for them. Viseart just announced 2 new ones, and I really want both of them. So especially seeing those and how excited I am by those neutral Viseart palettes, the new Kashmiri one and then the new Vesperia, I think. I really want those. I felt more inspired to make this video today. And one thing I've also noticed that I really like to do is like kind of neutral eye, maybe a bold lip then, or like, you know, a fun shirt. I like a bold outfit. I have a lot of fun patterns and I have some fun jackets and stuff. So that way I'm not too bold everywhere. Okay, so let's get into these. So I'll start with the one, these are not in any particular order. This is not a ranking. I don't know if I could rank these. I probably could, but these are not in any particular order. The first one is just the first one because it's what I'm wearing underneath this shadow. So this is the shimmer all over my lid. And then the mattes around it are from this. This is the Surratt Beyond Beige quad. And this is the epitome of a basic palette. Like if you wanted the most basic neutral eyeshadow palette, this is it. And that's actually why I wanted it. And I'm very, very happy with it. So this is, again, like I said, I do like high-end makeup. This is like a $90 quad. Making me really want to try Tom Ford now too. But this is like a 90-something quad. But I love it so much. I did get this sent to me in PR, thank God. I didn't have to pay for this myself. But I don't think I would regret it if I did, maybe at $100, you know? I don't know if but on a sale, I probably would have bought it still. And this is it. Like I said, this is the most basic. This is the most basic bitch out of all of these. Like this is truly basic neutrals, but that's why I wanted it. I wanted to try their matte formula, and I wanted a really nice basic everyday palette. So this is the beige matte I have up here, and I have a little bit of this out here. I use them all the time. This is the shade I have on my inner corner, and this is a nice taupey satin shade that I wear on my lid. And this is a great travel palette, a great for work palette. I love this. It comes with this little sleeve. It's great. It's expensive, but it's great. And it's I think this is when I was like, when I was so excited by this, that's when I was like, oh, maybe I like neutrals more than I thought I did. Okay, the next palette is another fairly recent palette that I got, and it is another like perfect everyday, go to work, one and done kind of shadow neutral palette, and it's the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. So boring, so basic, but also so exciting and pretty and sparkly at the same time. So this is the palette. The one critique is I wish this was actually that dark. Like, I wish it went a little darker. I think this goes darker. And like these two on my skin tone just look kind of similar against the olive, but I love it. It's so pretty. You've got these like taupe, you've got this brown here, and these taupes. And then you've got the sheer sparkly shades that are just like that wet effect. Like sheen is literally a sheen. You can wear it as a highlighter. It's boring, but also not, because it's got nuance and color. I think that's what I've learned over the last couple of years, is that I do really love colorful mattes. I love colorful eyeshadow, but there's something about like the nuance between shades that just gets me really excited. And this has a lot of nuance. I really love this. And it's a really good formula. The mattes in this are a little different from her older mattes. I don't know what she's changed. They're a little stiffer and drier. They're not quite as creamy as the creamy mattes were before, but it still works great. Still really lovely to use. You've got like a nice terracotta shade. I love a terracotta. I just love this. I really do. I don't know if it's my favorite Natasha Denona palette. I will be ranking them soon. That is a December video, but I do really, really like this, and it's definitely near the top. The next one is an older palette, and I'm cheating. I'm making this 11 palettes now because I just grabbed something else. This is something from the original Haus Labs collection. So when they were still on Amazon, this was the last thing that they launched, and it was the first thing that they made that was made in Italy. So this was like everything else I think was made in China or something like that. No, the eyeliners were always Germany. Things were made in different places, but this was their first made in Italy eyeshadow palette, and it is the Love for Sale palette. It's kind of basic and boring. It's definitely not a revolutionary eyeshadow palette color story, but it's really pretty. And I really love it. It kind of gives me Urban Decay Born to Run vibes, which I never bought but really wanted to. I remember seeing it in stores as I was like getting into makeup and being like, I really want that, but it's too expensive for me. And look where I am now. But I love this. You've got warm neutrals with these peaches. You've got some like cool brown shades. You've got a nice black. You've got, and then you've got some like nice, champagne shimmers. You do have some like this purpley pop with these two. This one's a satin, and this one's a little more sparkly, and you've got the green here, and this like more orange matte, but it's still like all the shades are a little more satin, a little more soft. Like even if you're going full color with like this like more purpley shade, it's still softer and like still very daily friendly and work friendly, and still like someone who's scared of color could still like wear this and it wouldn't be too much, because it's such a subdued version of that I really love this, and I still have it, even though that version of Haus Labs does not exist. And the reason this is now a cheat, and I'm making it 11 palettes, is because I started talking about that one, and I had to stop and be like, nope, starting over. I need to go get the new one, because I really love the new one. I love both of the new ones. Volume 2 is cool tones, and it has a green, sparkly glitter shade in it, and a really pretty rose gold. But Volume 1, the most basic of them, is gonna be probably in the top of my favorite palettes of the year. It's a 6-pan palette. It's warm neutral mattes. You've got a warm beige, a warm kind of reddy matte, and then a dark like chocolate brown. And then you've got, what makes it less basic is that you've got an iridescent gold here, like a pinky gold, and then you've got a pink gold shimmer and then a gold shimmer. So the shimmers are what make it like really special and not basic, but it's, it's essentially just a warm tone palette with shades that I have in other things. Like I have a Terra Moon shade that's like this, and I have some D&D singles and shadows that are kind of like this one, and I have a shadow like this in my Isomea palette, but having them all together in this little 6-pan palette that was $50 just makes me happy, and I just keep grabbing. Like I got this a couple weeks ago now, and I just keep grabbing it. It's so good. It's so good. The formula is so good. The closest thing I've tried to these mattes is the Lisa Eldridge matte. So if you know and you like those, These are pretty similar, but the shimmers are way more impactful than Lisa's. Well, I mean, Sorcery has some pretty impactful shimmers, but I know people said in the other ones they were less. But these are like, these are really pretty. So if you want like basic mattes, but basic colored, but super special shimmers, it's a really nice one. Okay, the next one is an oldie but a goodie, and it is Natasha Denona Gold. I remember when I first got into makeup, end of 2019, early 2020, this was in Sephora, and I remember walking by it and being like, oh my God, it's just browns. How could someone, and I saw the price, that it was $130. How could people pay $130 for that? How? I was like, it's just browns. I don't understand. And I was like ranting to my husband. He was like, yeah, I agree. And then I started getting into makeup. And then I started trying Natasha Denona's formulas. And then I really thought about this, and I saw swatches of it on people, and I was like, nope, I'm buying it. And I got it on sale before it like went away, and then it came back and went away. I love this. This is top 5 neutral palettes. It's perfect if you have an olive undertone, because you've got these like, you've got the mustard, you've got these more like greeny tones here, you've got these blue tones here. People say they're green, they're blue, especially on an olive undertone. These are just straight up blue. There's no green. This is a green, and this has a bit of a green to it, but I love this. I use it a lot. It doesn't look that beat up. Like, you can see some smudges in some of these, but like for how much I've used this, it looks pretty clean. I love this. I really want Natasha Denona to make a midi version of this. So this is her $130 size. This is the half size for $70. Not that much smaller, same number of pans, they're just littler. I think she needs to revamp Gold in this size. Make it a $70 permanent palette. People would buy it. So the next one is gonna be another newer palette to my collection, and it is something that I got last week, and this last week, and I'm already in love. I've used it 4 times, and it's the new Trixie Horse Girl palette. This is so good. Again, warm neutrals. It's warm neutrals with a pop of blue, and then this really pretty duochrome. And I think part of what pushes it over is this duochrome. I don't have, the video for this should go up a week or 2 before this video. I've been using it all the time. I love it. I used it yesterday. I used it the night before. I almost used it today. You've got some more pink tones, but they're a little more like coral. Like, this is a coral shade. Then you've got a pink shimmer. You've got some warm neutrals here. You've got these like clay and terracotta tones. You've got a pop of blue, but it's like a sheer blue that anybody can wear. I think this is great. I understand why this sold out instantly. So even though it's really new, I've only had it for a few days, I had to include it because I love Trixie's formula. I have every palette they've done, and this is even better than those. And it's just so good. Okay, so I've got a couple more here. The next one is one that will not surprise any of you, and it's one of the most boring, basic looking palettes I own. I love it so much. Came out, I've had this. This is probably my second most, if not, this might be my most used palette of the year, and it's the Byredo Remembrance palette. I held off on buying this for quite a while, and then I just couldn't hold off anymore, and I love it. I love it so much. It's a $100 palette, and I have 0 regrets. This one I did buy, obviously. I bought the Surratt thing's the only thing that in here that I got sent. I bought the rest of these, or I used a gift card for this. I love it. You've got a rosy brown here. You've got a warm brown here. You've got some more taupe leaning shades. You've got some warmer shades. You've got some more rosy shades here. You do have some really sparkly shades up here. This is like a perfect one and done. So is this, so is this, but these two are what I grabbed the most. But I've used every shade in here. I love it. It's soft. The mattes are soft and sophisticated and just easy to work with, and they look beautiful. And the shimmers might not be as like foiled and as stuff as this, or even a Natasha Denona shadow, but they just look so elegant and refined and beautiful on the eyes that I just feel really nice when I wear it. I feel really pretty. I like the way I feel I look. People ask me what's on my eyes. It just makes me happy. And isn't that what all of this is about, is the palettes that just kind of make us happy and make us feel pretty? Okay, so we've got 4 left. The next one is, the reason it's here, it's Viseart. I was just talking about how I really want their 2 new ones, which are like cool tone and kind of desaturated, which is the vibe I'm going for most of the time. I like a desaturated colorful shadow and a desaturated neutral, but this is the Le Marais palette, and it's just the reason it's here is because it's a basic warm neutral palette, but it does have a little twist. It's got a bright red, it's got this purple, and it's got this purple duochrome up here. But generally, it's a warm neutral palette, but the formula is great, and those little pops of like purple really make it like the perfect fall palette. I love it. I have 0 regrets buying this, and I want to get more of the étendues because they're this size, and then they're all interchangeable, so I can make my own, kind of like the Natasha Denona palettes, how you can interchange the shadows. Okay, so the last couple here are also very expensive. I picked a lot of expensive palettes for here. Apparently, when it comes to neutrals, I want high-end expensive things. I mean, this is not the most expensive, and it's an indie brand, but you know what I mean. So the next one is gonna be a quint from Pat McGrath. So this is from last year. This was part of her holiday palette last year. I bought 2 of these. I bought the Nude Allure one and the other one. The other one's like a black with some shimmers. Really love the shimmers in that. But this one, again, you've got one matte and then some shimmers, but they're all a little like you've got a copper, kind of a purple pink, and then bronze here, and then you've got kind of a pinky champagne. You're basically just putting this in the crease, putting one of these on the lid, maybe putting this on the inner corner. It's still just so pretty, and I think these, especially if the color story speaks out to you, are a great way to try Pat McGrath because they're just a nice, small, cheaper version, but she did something special with these shimmers. They're just really, really beautiful. For being like a standard shimmer, they're also like creamy and blendable like her shimmers normally are, but they're extra sparkly. And I really love this. And then the last 2 are, again, expensive palettes. So we've got another Natasha Denona, the My Dream palette. I remember when this came out, I was like, I don't really need that. I have all of those tones. Like, it's the epitome of a basic palette because I have everything in here. I have a black, I have these kind of wine tones, I have these like slightly warm neutrals and clay tones, I have a gold, I have a multichrome kind of like this from my singles. But having them all together and having like the cool tones and the warm tones and everything together makes it a really great palette. I think this is basically a Natasha Denona, my best of Natasha Denona palette. Like, you get a mix of her formulas, you get a little bit of kind of like not dupes from other palettes, but like the same vibe from multiple palettes like Lila and Retro and stuff. So like, you get a little bit of everything: warm, cool, sparkly, satin, multi-chrome, matte, cream, like you get a little bit of everything. And so it makes me really happy for that. But I've used this a lot. This is, again, a really good go-to-work palette. Got a lot of really good one and done shades, but you've also got some really sparkly shades. So also, I have one of the ones that has a typo in it, so I find that funny too. I don't remember what shade it is. Oh, it's Spontaneous is misspelled. So that kind of, it annoys me for a $70 palette to have a typo, but also I kind of find it hilarious. And then the last but not least, Pat McGrath Mothership 10. I almost put in Mothership 1. Mothership 2 would definitely be in here, except for that green. It's pretty basic. I don't have Divine Rose 1, which is her ultimate basic palette. And then Mothership 1 is very cool. It's like the perfect cool tone basic palette, and then pops of blue. But this, it's kind of basic and boring. You've got a rosy shade, you've got a plummy shade, you've got a soft charcoal, you've got a pale gold, like a taupey shade here, a gold here, and you do have some really beautiful sparkles, so it becomes less basic because of how sparkly these are. They're not her baked formula, but they are super, super sparkly and glittery. But like on an everyday basis, I mean, I could have put a couple of Pat McGrath motherships in here, including the new one. Actually, the new one might, maybe Sunlit Seduction is even more basic than this, but too late now. We're here. It's just so good. Especially as we're moving into fall and winter, these like cool tones, but not fully cool. Like this is plum, this is cool, but this is rosy. It's just such a good Sunlit Seduction and Moonlit Seduction. This is Moonlit Seduction, just hand in hand as kind of basic, Sunlit Seduction kind of repetitive for her, but also nuanced and special. And now that I'm thinking about it, I should have grabbed the other one, but I'm not refilming this. I'm not going back and getting the other one. We're sticking with this. I said what I said and we're sticking with it. Okay, so let me know in the comments what you think of my picks. What are some of your favorite neutral/basic palettes? I'd love to hear your thoughts on mine and yours. So let me know. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.